What if I told you that one of the most important scientific discoveries of the 20th century, the one that led to both nuclear power and the atomic bomb, was made by a woman who never got credit for it? A woman who had to escape Nazi Germany in secret, who was denied a Nobel Prize she absolutely deserved, and whose male colleague took all the glory. This is the infuriating and inspiring story of Lise Meitner, the woman who split the atom and was erased from history. Born in 1878 in Vienna, Austria, Lise Meitner grew up in a large Jewish family that valued education. But there was a problem. Women in Austria weren't allowed to attend university. They weren't even allowed to attend high school. At 14, Lise's formal education simply ended because of her gender. But Lise was obsessed with physics and mathematics. For 8 years, she studied privately, teaching herself advanced physics while working as a French teacher. Finally, in 1901, Austrian universities reluctantly opened to women. At 23, much older than typical students, Lise enrolled at the University of Vienna. In 1906, she became only the second woman to earn a doctorate in physics from the University of Vienna. But in Austria, no university would hire a female physicist. So in 1907, at age 29, Lise moved to Berlin to study under the legendary physicist Max Planck, who initially opposed women in science, but made an exception for Lise because she was just that brilliant. Here's where it gets absurd. When Lise arrived at the Chemical Institute in Berlin, women were banned from the laboratories. Banned. The director feared women's hair would catch fire near Bunsen burners. So where did Lise work? In a converted carpenter's workshop in the basement. She had to walk to a hotel down the street to use the bathroom because she wasn't allowed to use the institute's facilities. For years, she worked without pay, in a basement, forbidden from entering the main building. In that basement, Lise met chemist Otto Hahn. They formed one of the most productive partnerships in scientific history. For over 30 years, Hahn and Meitner collaborated. Hahn did the chemistry, Lise did the physics. Together, they discovered multiple new radioactive elements and isotopes. Slowly, grudgingly, the scientific world recognized Lise. By the 1920s, she'd become Germany's first female physics professor. She had her own research group. She was nominated for the Nobel Prize multiple times. Einstein called her the German Marie Curie. But while Lise's career was finally flourishing, darkness was rising in Germany. Adolf Hitler came to power in 1933, and the Nazis began systematically removing Jewish people from universities and laboratories. Lise had one protection. She was Austrian, not German. Her Austrian citizenship kept her safe. For a while. She kept working, kept researching, even as colleagues disappeared around her. She believed science transcended politics. She was wrong. In March 1938, Nazi Germany annexed Austria. Overnight, Lise's Austrian passport became worthless. She was now considered German and Jewish. Her name appeared on a list of scientists forbidden to leave the country. The Nazis called her the German Jewess, who was contaminating physics. At 59 years old, Lise faced a terrifying choice: stay and face arrest, deportation, probably death, or attempt an illegal escape with nothing but what she could carry. On July 13, 1938, with 10 marks in her pocket and a diamond ring that Otto Hahn's mother had given her to bribe border guards if needed, Lise fled Germany. She crossed the border into the Netherlands illegally, with no visa, her heart pounding, certain she'd be caught and sent back. But she made it. She escaped with her life, and left everything else behind. Her career, her laboratory, her life's work. Lise found refuge in Sweden, working at a second-rate institute with poor equipment, isolated and heartbroken. Meanwhile, Otto Hahn continued their experiments in Berlin. In December 1938, he wrote Lise a puzzling letter. When he bombarded uranium with neutrons, the uranium seemed to transform into barium, an element with about half the atomic weight. It made no sense. Lise received that letter while visiting friends in Sweden over Christmas. On a snowy walk through the woods with her nephew, physicist Otto Frisch, She worked through the physics. Suddenly, it clicked. The uranium nucleus wasn't just changing, it was splitting, breaking apart into lighter elements, releasing massive amounts of energy. She calculated the energy using Einstein's famous equation, E equals mc squared. The numbers were staggering. Splitting a single atom released millions of times more energy than any chemical reaction. Lise and Otto Frisch coined the term nuclear fission, borrowing from biology's term for cell division. They'd explained one of the most important discoveries of the century. In January 1939, their paper was published. The scientific world exploded. Nuclear fission would change everything: energy production, medicine, weapons, the course of World War II itself. In 1944, the Nobel Prize in Chemistry was awarded for the discovery of nuclear fission. It went to Otto Hahn, only Otto Hahn. Lise Meitner, who'd provided the theoretical explanation that made sense of the experimental results, who'd spent 30 years as Hahn's equal partner, who'd literally calculated the physics while in exile. She wasn't even mentioned. Why? Partly timing, she'd escaped Germany and couldn't continue experiments. Partly sexism, the Nobel Committee had a long history of overlooking women. Partly politics. Honoring a Jewish refugee during wartime was controversial. And partly because Hahn, in his Nobel lecture and later writings, systematically downplayed Lise's contributions. He called her a junior partner. He claimed she'd merely helped with mathematics. The man she'd worked beside for 3 decades erased her from their shared legacy. As World War II ended and the atomic age began, Lise was offered a position on the Manhattan Project, the American program to build atomic bombs. She refused. "I will have nothing to do with a bomb," she said. Unlike many physicists who helped create nuclear weapons, Lise never wavered in that conviction. In her later years, some recognition came. She received awards, honorary degrees, and was nominated for the Nobel Prize 48 times between 1924 and 1965, but never won. In 1966, she, Hahn, and Fritz Strassmann shared the Enrico Fermi Award in the United States, a small acknowledgement of her role. Lise Meitner died in 1968 at age 89 in Cambridge, England. Her tombstone, chosen by her nephew, reads, "Lise Meitner, a physicist who never lost her humanity." Today, element 109 on the periodic table is named Meitnerium in her honor, a fitting tribute for someone who spent her life discovering new elements. She's now recognized as the most significant scientist never to win a Nobel Prize. Lise Meitner's story is a reminder that history isn't always written by those who deserve the credit. She was denied education because she was a woman. She worked in a basement because laboratories banned women. She fled for her life because she was Jewish. And when she helped make one of the century's greatest discoveries, a man took the credit. But here's the truth that no Nobel Prize committee can erase. Every nuclear reactor, every PET scan, every application of nuclear fission exists because Lise Meitner looked at impossible data and understood what everyone else missed. She didn't split the atom with her hands, she split it with her mind. And no injustice can take that away. Her story deserves to be told. Share this video so Lise Meitner's name is never forgotten again. And subscribe, because there are countless other brilliant minds written out of history, and we're bringing them back into the light.